Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. As you can see, Mike Washington is out on assignment. So you have none other than Charles Bishop, also known as Professor Bishop to many. And we have A.D. Drew, known to many of our lab listeners as the clinical professor on assignment. I want to say welcome to episode 259 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports, for institutions large and small, from NEIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture and HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs in the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host again, along with my co-host, Professor Drew, Professor Bishop. We're filming from our home studios and sending a signal live to KCOH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer in a beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. With that said, we should have a great one on today. We're scheduled to have the MEAC Commissioner Sonja Stills, so we're excited about that opportunity. But before we get into that interview, today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THG Agency, LLC. THG Agency is a company that provides sporting and educational consulting and data analytics. With that being said, let me go straight back to Charles Bishop. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Doc. Doing well. It's great to be off the road and back home, get a chance to get ready for these last couple of weeks, get ready for the finals here. So looking forward to it. But I tell you what, it has been a semester and a half. So,
so you got them finals in your life. Not only are you giving them, but you taking them too.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Giving them and taking them.
yeah, pledging a little bit there. I see.
A little bit. Yes, indeed.
Let me go to Professor Drew, clinical Professor Drew. How's your day going? You got any finals that you're giving or taking?
I am giving finals in my class that I adjunct for down at Southeastern University. And just want to ask you one question, Mr. HBCU Sports Lab. How many days do you get with this organization? Because Mike Washington must have accumulated a lot of days up in here.
Yeah, it depends on who. If you let him tell it, he's gonna say it goes back to the days when I was a freshman. He was a sophomore coming into Prairie View A&M University, and I had an interest membership in Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Oh, so he's still holding on that to say
so he using legacy
responsibilities for that hookup, if you want to call it that, was all on him. So he thinks he's accumulated a lot. I think if you had Charles, the other half fraternity duo that we have here, if you would, trio, I guess, if you look at it in that manner, is he's been on the clock. He keeps counting these numbers, and he said, man, something's not wrong right here. He talking about he wants some of his days. I say, all right, watch it out. He got to straighten these folks out, Drew. Don't start none.
Hey, and he working on that economics and that stats class, so he really supposed to hit you with some numbers now, Doc.
Exactly. You can't teach brothers anything these days because they take it to heart and take it to the head. So Shout out to the lab listeners. A lot of folks, I believe, we put the information out there, and we see by the numbers we have a lot of folks that join us. We hope to do you right and make sure that you get the information you need. And we're going to go to it and find out what we got. But before they do that, I think they had a little something this past weekend that started at the end of the week called the draft. I don't know if you all heard anything about it, but did it work out for any HBCU folks out there, Professor Bishop?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it did. So I want to say congratulations to the 4 HBCU players who got drafted: Joshua Williams from Fayetteville State, Decobie Durant from South Carolina State, James Houston from Jackson State, and Isiah Carter from Southern University. So Dr. Cavil, in addition to the 4 HBCU draft picks, there were 8 that were signed as free agent signings, the most since 2015 and the 4th best in the last 25 years. So I definitely want to send congratulations out to Marquise Bell, Shamar Bridges, Keith Corbin, Deshaun Dixon, Felix Harper from Alcorn, Ron Hunt, Young from Jackson State, and Savion Williams from Florida A&M. They were all the free agent signings. And then you have some rookie minicamp invitations: Will Adams, D. Anderson, Caleb Carter, Stephen Davis, Keenan Forbes, Aqeel Glass, C.J. Holmes, Zafir Kelly, Jermaine Martin, Marquise McLean, Najee Reams, Kylan Ritchie, Braylon Robinson, and Jawan Taylor. So definitely want all those guys to go out there and do what they need to do to get seen, get in front of whomever they need to get in front of the numbers more than anything, and make a roster. So congratulations to all those guys.
Great points you're making there. Professor Drew, if I recall, you said the over and under at 4.5. I know Correct. You said it. Does that mean that you got the bet? Did you bet on this? And where did most people fall? And what were your thoughts in terms of the outcome of where people were going, either 4 or 5? I think you did it at 4.5, was right on the spot. Man, we're going to have to take you to Las Vegas out there.
Well, I can't take all the credit for that one. Brian helped me out. You know, we put that number together between the two of us. My heart was on the 5 side. My wallet was on the 4 side.
That's right. You did say that on the sports wrap with Brian and AD. You did say that. I heard that. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Now the thing is, the 4 that went, I would not have gotten the 4 correct. I really thought Marquise Bell would have been in that mix. You know, James Houston had that one. Decobie Durant had that one. Williams had that one. Isiah Carter. I thought he may have been one of those borderline ones. I didn't know whether he was going to go or not going to go. Had optimism for Aqeel Glass, but I really was not expecting Glass to go. So the one, like I said, the one that was the shocker to me was Marquise Bell. But after talking to BJ Jones on our shows Sunday, I understand a little bit more as to why Marquise Bell did not go. He had better 2019 season than he did a better 2021 season. And it's, of course, when it comes to this, what have you done for me lately? And I got to put this one out there: Detroit Lions. There's plenty of footage on James Houston out there. I know a brother or two named Bishop and Neely who could have got you some footage. I know a few people over HBCU Game Day who could have got you some footage. Heck, I could even get you in touch with the Jackson State SID if you really want the official footage. Detroit Lions.
Do better. Do better. Thank you. Well stated, well framed. I appreciate that. And yeah, we certainly need to call them out. Before we get to it, got a couple more things wanted to shine some lights on. But I must admit, like you, Charles, and Drew, when you talk about the fact, Aqeel Glass, I certainly wanted to see him go, but actually didn't hear a lot. Then you kind of knew wasn't looking well, and just over years of experience. And then, but you're right, when you didn't see Marquise Bell, I got to start getting a little nervous because I was like, you know, we're not hearing enough. And I really thought he would have been much higher than, but didn't work out. But kudos. My understanding, he did get better deals in some of the 7th rounders when he talked about how much Dallas saw his interest. So whoever his agent is, they made sure he got done right in terms of what the estimated ballpark numbers are. I won't tell his business, obviously, if folks can get out there and get it, because we do have some sharks out there. We're going to hold that tight, but congratulations to all those guys. Did want to go back to you, Charles, in terms of what are some other things that you wanted to discuss? Yeah,
well, go ahead and mark your calendar now. The SWAC will hold its annual Football Media Day Thursday, July 21st at the Sheraton Birmingham Hotel. The event will feature all 12 league head coaches and 2 student athletes from each member institution. The league will also announce the 2022 all SWAC football preseason teams, as well as the predicted order of finish. So as you guys well know, that is a tremendous event in terms of SWAC Media Day, and looking forward to coming back over to Birmingham again and taking part in that as we get sort of this preview into the season over there on the SWAC side.
Professor Drew, do you think somebody's a little excited now? I mean, can we get through baseball, softball, SWAC championship this weekend? Do we already talk about the SWAC Media Day?
Track championship.
Oh, by the way, okay.
I mean, you know, we got plenty of stuff out there that we could be doing in the meantime. You know, I mean,
I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is, but you know, our audience tends to drift towards the football side from time to time. So I just want to make sure they mark their calendars July 21st.
No doubt about it. With that being said, Professor Drew, let me go back to you. What are some other highlights you want to kind of put out there for the people?
This was not on our script, but you know I can't come on the show right now without talking about the Tyson Foods Black College World Series. And the seeds were released today. And the seeding for the Tyson Foods Black College World Series, the number 1 seed is going to be the Albany State Golden Rams. They will take on Kentucky State in the first round at 9 a.m. Central Time at Montgomery's Riverwalk Stadium. Your number 2 seed on the NCAA side will be the Miles Golden Bears, and they will take on the number 3 Bluefield State Big Blue, and that will be a 5 p.m. game at Riverwalk Stadium. On the NAIA side, Florida Memorial comes in as your number 1 team, and they will open up against Talladega at 12:30 on next Wednesday. And your nightcap will be Edward Waters versus Russ. All those games will take place, and that's a 8 o'clock game Central Time. All those games will take place at Montgomery's Riverwalk Stadium and be streamed live here on the Black College Sports Network.
Man, that's exciting. I'm looking forward to that event. A lot of work's been into it. Before we get into this break, I did want to shout out South Carolina State as they sweep the 2022 MEAC Men's and Women's Tennis Championship as they continue to get it out. Shout out to South Carolina State in terms of the doubles. In the singles, as they had Omar Gorgon. South Carolina State was outstanding performer, and Coach Hardeep Judge from South Carolina State doing back-to-back, obviously got outstanding coach. Shout out to that. We got some more leadership in the house. Morgan State has named new athletic director, beginning a new era of leadership in athletics for MEAC Sports. That is Morgan State's President David Wilson. Today announced the appointment of Dina Freeman Patton, that comes out of MEAC Sports again, as the new Vice President and Director of Intercollegiate Athletics. Has quite a bit of experience, so it'll be fascinating to see how it goes. Let's get in this break, and it apropos, as you would say, that we're just talking about the MEAC. As we come back, we should have the commissioner of the MEAC, Sonja Stills. So stick with us. We'll be right back. We can get in this interview.
Five-star backyards, Yellowwood brand pressure-treated pine. If it doesn't have this yellow tag, you don't want it.
The top HBCU programs in the nation come to Montgomery, Alabama's Riverwalk Stadium this May 11th through 14th for the Black College World Series. The best Black college baseball teams in the NCAA Division II and the NAIA will battle for Black baseball's ultimate pride. Games will be streamed live at www.mybcsn.net. Tickets are available now online at www.blackcollegechampionships.com.
Bounty versus the old family dish towel. Drying with a fresh sheet of Bounty leaves your hands cleaner than a used dish towel that can carry and redistribute food residue. So ditch the dish towel for better hand hygiene. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
We're all about feeding your family with meat and plant-based protein that's good for the planet, good for you, and just plain good. That's all the protein you need, all on your plate.
Don't worry, Ma, we'll be there soon.
Me? Is this the one?
Well, let's say I found the one who takes me to another level. Always stays calm under pressure. Most importantly, the one that helps me discover the coolest places.
This sounds wonderful.
Come outside, I'll introduce you.
You're here.
Definitely the one.
Introducing the all-new Nissan Frontier.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, yeah, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with an exclusive interview from the MEAC Commissioner Sonja Stills, who started her tenure as the official commissioner back in January. We had a chance to talk to her about that role, so we won't necessarily get into that. We have a lot of questions there, but I wanted to officially welcome you to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me back. You know, I had a lot of fun the last time, and so I look forward to being entertained again.
No doubt. That's what we do here. Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Co-hosting today is none other than Professor Bishop, and clinical Professor Drew is joining us as a guest. With that, I kind of wanted to level set in terms of just what's going on in the MEAC from that perspective. Let me first ask the question in regards to what have you been getting and moving forward? What has been getting done in the MEAC?
Yeah, so yeah, great question. We are really trying to get our legs under us as we move forward with the conference. I think one of the things of my mission was to do some work with getting our Olympic sports on a national platform. And we recently did that with tennis, getting them on HBCU Go TV. So that's a tremendous thing for us, being the first time we stream tennis. You know, and so we're looking forward to doing more of that going forward. We had a great basketball tournament, which is impressive coming out of COVID. So that's one of the things. We also, you know, embarking on our Title IX 50th anniversary and the things that we're doing with that, with the YWCA, partnering with them and the things that we're doing to showcase it with the Women in Athletics presentation workshop and lots of other things that we're doing to move forward. So with that, we are really trying to make some leaps and bounds in the conference within my, I think 100, 110 days, 120 days.
So a lot of times when you have an interview and you get into a leadership type of role, you have these 30, 60, 90-day plans.
Yeah.
In this case, I'm sure you had your own 30, 60, 90, but there was a significant framework in terms of what I call conference churning, teams moving around you in and out of the conference from that perspective. One of the questions that is always out there, and certainly something that's important to me, is does the MEAC yourself, within that 30, 60, 90 days, is there a strategic plan in terms of what is the future for the MEAC?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So there's one thing, it's two things. So one, you know, as the commissioner, I have to look at my own strategic plan on how we are going to move forward. what benchmarks are we going to make as a conference in regards to what I envision the conference to be. And then the other piece is our delegate assembly has a committee, a strategic and long range planning committee that is working on our conference strategic and long range plan. And so it all encompasses how we are going to grow together as one mind, one conference. Which is very important. We have to move together. So my vision has to match what the Strategic and Long Range Plan Committee has. And in my, one thing that I purposely didn't do is tell specifically about what my vision was for the conference. I wanted to see what the Strategic and Long Range Plan Committee came up with. And as I listened to them and they tell me what they are putting together, we are all moving the same way, which is very important. We want to see the conference change, be more innovative, be more, again, using strategic about how we move as a conference and what we want to see the conference go in the future. So, and that's very rewarding to know that we are all moving in the same pace.
With this, before I share and allow my co-host to get in and ask some questions, one of the things that you came out with was this terminology that a lot of people liked in terms of the Elite Eight.
Absolutely.
In strengthening the Elite Eight. Well, there's been a lot of dialogue in conference that is the conference going to stay the Elite Eight, namely Howard University, in regards to them maybe having an interest in terms of moving to the Colonial Athletic Association. Several reports have put that out there. And so when you talk about this strategic plan, everybody on the same page, this Elite Eight terminology, can you give us some framework in terms of where that's going? Is there any truth to that? What can you say about the Elite Eight, including whether Howard University is going to remain in the conference?
Yeah, what's interesting is rumors, you know, and it's funny that the rumors have taken a light of their own. They're just taken off. And so one of the things is there isn't a lot of truth to the rumors. The Elite Eight, we're committed. They have said over and over again that they're committed to the stability of the conference. And that's important. I don't think, and I think I mentioned this before, I wouldn't have taken the job if I didn't think that we had the commitment of the eight. And one of the things when you have these stories out there that don't really get confirmation from anybody, and so, you know, it just keeps growing because it's out there. And then you have alumni and, you know, and fans wanting to buy into that, but there's no substance to it. You know, when you are the elite, you know that there are going to be other conferences that are going to come for the institutions because we are have institutions, great academic institutions. You know, and so, of course, we know that individual conferences want to come after us. But these eight are committed to the stability of the conference and how we move forward together. How can we grow together that's going to benefit the eight institutions? So, I would hope that we can move forward. And that if there's any type of stories that come out there, that they would at least go to the source to get the appropriate information and not go off of conjecture.
Okay. I have a couple of follow-up, but I don't want to belabor too much of the point. So I'm going to allow Charles to come in here, and then we'll see in terms of bringing Drew in and see if we can get a couple of more questions, and I can come back and follow up a little bit. Go ahead, Charles.
So before I ask my question, I just want to make sure I understood you right. There's no truth to the rumor of Howard leaving yet.
Correct.
Okay.
And actually, we expect a statement to come out to reaffirm the commitment from the conference shortly. And that's very important. And Howard has repeatedly stated their commitment to the conference. And we really hate to have to talk about that again and again, because we're ready to move forward as a conference. We're ready to look at different and bigger things. And, I want to make history. So that's what I want to focus on.
No doubt. Well, let me follow up on that. Is there an actual expansion plan for the MEAC?
Yeah, so, we'll always have expansion in mind, but you have to remember that when we don't want to just grab an institution. We want to make sure that they're going to fit us, our mission, our athletically, academically. We have to fit. And we can't seem, and I always think, if you're just grabbing institutions just to have numbers, if we're the Elite Eight, we're strong as an Elite Eight. And anybody who wants us at this point is wanting us because we are a strong eight. And we are going to help somebody else. But if we are committed as 8 institutions, we're strong as 8. So, but that's not to say that we are not looking to grow in the future. Obviously we are, but it has to be strategic in what we do in regards to bringing an institution. We have to have the right fit. It's got to be the right time to add an institution. But we can't be in a position where we are just grabbing institutions just because the changing and the shifting of the landscape is going on.
Sure.
Absolutely. Clinical Professor Drew, please follow up.
Well, this is kind of piggybacking off of both of these gentlemen's questions. This is going with the rumors, and then with the expansion. The story this week came out about Chicago State. There's been, I don't know what the truth is and what the rumor about that is, or the non-rumor of it is. So I'm going to let you comment on that and set the record straight when it comes to Chicago State. But the Chicago State thing brings up interesting point with them not being a traditional HBCU. So as we talk about this potential expansion, where does that play into it? Traditional HBCU versus minority serving institutions, which Chicago State would be classified as.
Right. So, I think I've said it before. We are open to non-traditional HBCU institutions. That doesn't change who we are as a historically Black college and universities conference. That won't change us. Our culture is still there, and that's who we are. When you talk about minority serving institutions, we have similar missions. We still are going to serve the same type of students, and they're going to want to play students who look like them. And so we're open to that. You talk about Chicago State. Chicago State is just one of institutions that we've had numerous conversations with. And so, we have to do our job in vetting institutions to ensure, and they have to do that on their side to ensure that this is going to be the right fit. Is this the right time for us to expand? And so, again, we can't just be adding schools without it fitting into the strategic plan that we have as a conference. We have to make sure that we are going to make the best decision, and the institution has to make sure that they're going to make the best decision in regards to joining a conference. And so it's something that we all have to take very seriously, even as an institution, whether this is going to be the right move. And then as a conference, is this institution going to come in and accentuate what we already have? But first, we have to make sure that we have a strong foundation before we are able to invite other institutions into the conference.
This is Dr. Cavil, inside HBCU Sports Lab. Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Joining us today is AD Drew. Mike Washington is out on assignment, and Charles Bishop. Our exclusive guest of the day is the Commissioner of the MEAC, Sonja Stills. You stick with us. We'll be right back at this break because I want to come back and talk a little bit more about the expansion, fit, culture, really taking a more deep dive in terms of, there is a thing out there called the Transformational Committee.
Yes.
And wanting to get into maybe what does that mean in terms of people making moves in terms of conference expansion and churning, if you would. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this break.
Thanks.
One bite of 100% Angus beef ballpark frank, and you'll say, hello, summer. Oh yeah, it's ballpark season.
Time to call a credit repair company to fix my credit. Hold the phone, man. You can do it yourself with Credit Versio. That's way too hard. Call the credit repair company. Most credit repair companies only work on 1 or 2 accounts at a time, making it slow and expensive. You won't figure that out for months. Ignore him. Credit Versio's brilliant software scans all 3 credit bureaus, finds the accounts that are hurting your score, and guides you through the entire process. Anyone can do it. Let's fast forward and see the results. Wow, I fixed my own credit and saved hundreds. You can do this. Visit creditversio.com.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
The top HBCU programs in the nation come to Montgomery, Alabama's Riverwalk Stadium this May 11th through 14th for the Black College World Series. The best Black college baseball teams in the NCAA Division II and the NAIA will battle for Black baseball's ultimate pride. Games will be streamed live at www.mybcsn.net. Tickets are available now online at www.blackcollegechampionships.com.
For 5-star backyards, Yellowwood brand pressure-treated pine. If it doesn't have this yellow tag,
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna law, yeah, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside HBCU Sports Lab with exclusive interview with MEAC Commissioner Sonja Stills for Inside HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is out on assignment. He keeps being out on assignment. I don't know how he gets away with that. We're going to have to check some of this. But we do have none other than clinical Professor Drew, Professor Bishop. As we ended the last segment, we talked a little bit about fit, expanding on expansion conference. There's some questions out there that are really up front in terms of baseball before we get into that transformational. And it might feed into that a little bit. Sure. But baseball in the MEAC is down to 4 teams. If I understand it right, in terms of your automatic bid, you have to have 6. You do have a period of time that you still can use the automatic bid and get there. When you look at expansion with a sport like baseball, where you getting to 6, how much of a role does that play when you're looking at institutions, particularly as you are communicating with the presidents and chancellors of the conference?
Absolutely. You know, when we look at baseball, we're also looking at golf as well. You know, we're down members in that as well. So that's obviously a consideration when we're looking at membership. You know, and it might not be looking at full membership, but associate membership. But then it also plays into alliances, conference alliances that we can have with other conferences who may be short on their side as well, and how we can come together so that the athletes are playing towards an AQ. So we're working on those things. We are definitely looking at alliances that we can have that's going to benefit our student athletes and to give them a great championship experience. That's most important. And so we're constantly looking to that. So this year will be the last time that we will have an AQ for baseball. And so we are looking for a home for our 4 member institutions. And we hope to have that done hopefully this summer so that they do have a home. And then as we look at potential members that will be able to bring our baseball back. So that's one thing, you know, when you're looking at possible conferences that you want to have alliance with, it's only for a certain time. So once we get our 6, we're coming back, you know, so that we can have our own AQ as a conference. So we're definitely looking at that.
So you had 2 years in terms of that grace period, if you would, for lack of better words. You part baseball teams, maybe golf, in another conference to make sure you still give them the eligibility for an automatic bid.
Right.
But once you bring them back and you get back to 6, is there a period of time that you have to wait, or does it automatically kick in once you get back to 6?
You have to apply for an AQ every year. And so once we get our 6, we'll be able to apply for an AQ.
Before I pass it back to them for another follow-up, I wanted to get into this D1 Transformation Committee.
Sure.
We heard a little bit of some things came out a week ago, if you would, or so, about how drastic it may be in terms of the Transformation Committee.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, people have stayed on the periphery for a lot. Those that are not kind of nerds like me academically, that have taken the time to read all this information. Could you provide some framework of the Division I Transformation Committee, how you believe it may affect the MEAC, and in terms of expansion, how much of a challenge has that been for the MEAC, or really any FCS programs? Because you have the OVC that's in a similar position, right. Atlantic Sun, the WAC, Big South right there in that same area, where OVC, the Big South, had 2, well, at least OVC, excuse me, with the Division II member coming up. But you haven't had a lot of that. What is the Transformation Committee doing to that expansion on that part of it?
Yeah, so it's funny, like when you talk about not being able to get a good hold on what the Transformation Committee is doing, and because they really haven't come out with concepts yet. And the concepts, even though they're meeting each week, we still haven't have gotten the concepts for us to really understand where we're going as Division I. We do know that as we look at what Division I is going to look like, it could change drastically. You know, when you talk about being at an FCS, that could change, where it might be tiered out more when you divide out the divisions, because they're looking at not necessarily the maximums of what it is to be Division I. It's going to look like what the minimums are to be Division I. So things are going to change because of the legality of being Division I as to why we're here in the first place. And so some of those rules and regulations that NCAA rules will now funnel down to the conferences and to the institutions. And so it has to look like what are specifically that affects Division I that we're willing to hang our hats on. And then what are we it really doesn't matter, you know, in regards to Division I. What we do want to do is as we figure out what it looks like when you talk about expanding, when you talk about us, the MEAC, the OVC, the Big South, and whatnot, when you talk about Division II, right now, currently, there is a moratorium that is going to go into effect June 1st. So if they do not apply by June 1st, then there's a moratorium on anybody coming into Division I until we first figure out what Division I is going to look like. So that limits any Division II or those conferences who are looking to expand. Division II is off the table at this point. So it's very different. We still don't have the concepts yet So we're like in a holding pattern right now, as we wait to see what this looks like. But we know moving forward, a lot of that stuff is going to come back on the conference level and the institutional level. I hope that answers your question.
No, that's important contextually. I just wanted to confirm one thing. When you said June 1st, there's a moratorium that doesn't allow Division II teams to move up until that date, or is it after that date?
After the break. So if they don't apply by June 1st, the moratorium takes effect.
I understand. Charles, please follow up.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to follow up, going back, and you were talking about that strategic plan, but Commissioner Stills, help us out real quick. Speak to that rank and file HBCU fan that is a fan of the SWAC, that is a fan of the MEAC, that is a fan of the Celebration Bowl. A lot of, I guess, perception of the rank and file HBCU fan right now is that the MEAC is on life support. Can you speak to that?
Well, and that's the funny thing. The MEAC is only on life support because somebody said it was. Not that we are. We are strong as 8. You know, we have 6 football playing institutions currently. We are moving forward. We are committed as 8. And so, unless somebody said something, we're not. And they buy into the hype of it. You know, sure. I hear that, you know, the MEAC should fold. No, we're strong. And so we're going to continue to move forward. I believe in the MEAC. Why won't you? We are here. You know, we still got football. We went out there and showed our high pots against Jackson State and South Carolina State. Now, it's MEAC football.
Oh, that's a subject right there.
Subject on this show.
As always, congratulations. South Carolina State took care of business. I'll be the first to say that. Yes, they did. They took care of business.
Just kidding. Good stuff. Good stuff. That's correct.
When you talk about the MEAC SWAC challenge, the MEAC has consistently, I think we only lost maybe 2 MEAC SWAC challenges. We only lost 1 MEAC Celebration Bowl. When you look at basketball, Legacy Classic that was out there, we had Coach Jones, Rob Jones up there, and the MEAC coach won. You know, the MEAC is not going anywhere. It's just those people who feel that when an institution leaves, all of a sudden we can't move forward. The conference has been a history of institutions moving in and out, you know, and so we are resilient. We are fine. We have continued to move forward. And so it's only if somebody out there who says that we should fold, you know, the MEAC is dead, they only want something to talk about. That's it. They need something to keep going, you know, but what I need is those people who are committed to the success of HBCU's conferences. We at 4 HBCU conferences, 2 strong Division I conferences. This looks good for all HBCUs, all Black Americans, when we are both successful. What it does not help is when those individuals are trying to break down our HBCUs. Why not support your HBCU conferences, the MEAC, the SWAC, the SIAC, and the CIAA? We need to come together in order to support 4 brilliant HBCU conferences.
Sure thing. Thank
Commissioner Steele, I'm going to throw a plug out there. Dr. Kiki Baker-Barnes should kill me. I know it's NAIA, but we do have the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference, which now is a composite of HBCU. So to your point, it's even better. It's 5 strong HBCU conferences that we all have the ability to talk about. Before we do this and get into the ranking, we'll give you a chance to say your last statement. But let me let Drew ask this question. We'll take a quick break and we'll bring you back to have your final thoughts.
Sure.
My last question, and it's real simple. You've been on the job just over 120 days. I just want you to take a few moments and reflect over these 120 days. Where you thought you would be at those 120 days versus where you are right now. Kind of break that down to us, if you would.
I gotta be political. Okay.
Uh-oh. My bad. I should ask that question, y'all. Y'all know that about Michael.
Look, you know,
you don't have to be political, but you know, some people might get their feelings hurt if you say the wrong thing. That's up to you.
You know, when I look, you know, when you're at day one, you have this plan, like everything that you want to execute in these 100 days. And I haven't been able to truly execute my visions. I've done certain things here and there, and I want to say they're like low-hanging fruit. But when you have to continually show that the Elite Eight are committed to the conference, because you have to continually dispute the rumors of individuals who are trying to bring down HBCUs, it takes away from the things that you need to do to further the conference. Instead, you're trying to continually defend, which there's no need. There's no need to do that. We are continually to move forward. We're strong, and we're going to continue to move forward regardless. But that takes time to continually put the right PR in front of you to be able to dispel just misinformation. But we want to be able to do things that are going to grow the conference. And that's what I'm committed to from today moving on.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like you might have gave part of your closing statement there. Let's take this last break. With that being said, I do want to give a plug, University of Virgin Islands. I know they're not part of any of the five, but, you know, I do have this liking to go to the Caribbean. So just saying, if there's an interest out there, I would be mad if I had to travel and cover some things. So just a point of reference, but just kidding.
I don't need to go with you. Okay.
There you go. We can make it happen, because we might need to explore it.
The Black College World Series. The best Black college baseball teams in the NCAA Division II and the NAIA will battle for Black baseball's ultimate prize. Games will be streamed live at www.mybcsn.net. Tickets are available now online at www.blackcollegechampionships.com.
Bounty versus the old family dish towel. Drying with a fresh sheet of Bounty leaves your hands cleaner than a used dish towel that can carry and redistribute food residue. So ditch the dish towel for better hand hygiene. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
At Tyson, we know taste is local. Some like their beef pit smoked, their chicken spiced all the way up, or their pork sweet and saucy. Local flavors, global impact. That's what feeding the world is all about.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Lab. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Lab, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
You see, Head & Shoulders has Scalp Shield technology, protects against flakes even between washes. It's never not working.
Kind of like us. Number 15?
Never not working.
I don't like this one.
Me neither.
Let's get out of here.
Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield, never not working.
The analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna loud and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Boy, those outtakes. This is Decobie inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, and AD Drew with the MEAC Commissioner Sonja Stills. Before I allow you to have a point of reference of a question we may not have asked that you think is important to get out to the followers and listeners. I did want to park and just maybe get some information. Is there any updates on whether Maryland Eastern Shore, which you've heard a little bit, it's been a while, or even Cotton State in terms of bringing football to the conference?
Not at this time. I know that I'm pretty sure that they are vetting that out, but right now that is not on the horizon.
No problem. With that, was there any questions that we didn't ask you that you think is important for our viewers or us, for that matter, that needs to be said?
Absolutely, because you did not ask me about the MEAC Nation Association, and I just don't understand why y'all didn't ask me about that, because that was one of my things that I want to do as part of my vision for the conference, is to bring this homecoming type of atmosphere back for those individuals who are fans, supporters of current members, and those members who were used to be in the MEAC, that's still going out and supporting the MEAC, like A&T supported us, during the Celebration Bowl. I still have Hampton folk who still come to the basketball tournament. So we want to be able to make the nation that type of group that we can still get together in a homecoming type of atmosphere, but do it in a way that's going to benefit, either help with scholarships, party with a purpose, to be able to touch the communities that our institutions are with. And so that's one thing. And if anybody wants to join and be a part of the MEAC Nation, they can visit our MEACsports.com website, and they can join the nation. And we are so excited to be able to move forward. And we are definitely have events planned for the Celebration Bowl, and we're looking to kick it off during the MEAC Swag Challenge.
So if you're not a current member of the MEAC or a former MEAC, but you cover the MEAC, does that count? Are you able to?
Absolutely. If you support the MEAC, please join the nation. This is probably my pride and joy of one thing that I wanted to do, is just to bring everybody together under this one umbrella.
I get my legacy memberships as a rattler.
Absolutely. And the committee is made up of individuals from the institutions, including Hampton, Florida A&M, Howard, Lord Jesus, Bethune-Cookman. So it's made up of all institutions who have been in the MEAC and touched us in some shape or way or form.
Sounds great. I would be remiss if I did not mention Karen Carty in terms of making sure that we had an opportunity as we were getting out there, as well as Lynn Thompson in terms of me seeking to put this together in this platform. It was important that I acknowledge them for all the work they did in making sure this comes out. With that, we'll take this quick break so we can come back and close. I want to say thank you for your time as we enjoyed this exclusive interview with MEAC Commissioner Sonja Stills. Got a lot of information, including some of the information in regards to the Elite Eight that I think you made very clear where the MEAC is and how they plan to move forward with a strategic plan regarding, again, the Elite Eight of the MEAC, all 8 members. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this last break. We'll come back and give you a couple of tidbits before we get out of here and close.
The top HBCU programs in the nation come to Montgomery, Alabama's Riverwalk Stadium this May 11th through 14th for the Black College World Series. The best Black college baseball teams in the NCAA Division II and the NAIA will battle for Black baseball's ultimate prize. Games will be streamed live at www.mybcsn.net. Tickets are available now online at www.blackcollegechampionships.com.
Bounty versus the old.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Lab. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Lab, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
You see, Head & Shoulders has
compressed the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Bill with Inside HBCU Sports Lab, MEAC Commissioner Sonja Stills. Yes, I know we had our exit there, but she wanted to join us. Wanted to make sure that everybody understood clarity in regards to the former members. Can you state that again in terms of the former members?
Our former members, Hampton, A&T, Bethune-Cookman, Florida A&M, Winston-Salem, Savannah State. You can join the MEAC Nation, and anybody who supports our corporate partners, anybody who wants to support, please join the MEAC Nation Association, and you can get more information on meacsports.com. Thank you again.
I just wanted to declare that. I didn't want anybody to say it wasn't me. This is Dr. Bill, Inside HBCU Sports Lab. Thank you for listening to the Inside HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Hope you enjoyed our guest, MEAC Commissioner Sonja Stills, as she gave you a lot of updates on the MEAC. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, every Tuesday and Thursday. We'll be back on Thursday at 6 o'clock. We look forward to the next week as we discuss the latest in the news in the lab. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil. That's DrKenyattaCavil on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, as well as make sure you download the app, MyJBN, My BCSN, HBCU Go for that matter, as they continue to get it done. Dream big, continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles?
Of course.
Drew?
Lecture.
Dismiss.
Well, holla.